Greetings, everyone. I'm Evelyn Leopold, chair of the Dag Hammarskjöld Scholarship Fund for Journalists. I was Reuters bureau chief at the United Nations for 100 years, and I'm now accredited at the United Nations by the Huffington Post. I have the pleasure of introducing a very, very busy Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, in between lobbying and lobbying hard for climate change and handling all the world's miseries. He has come here. He has traveled to what seems like every country in the world and stopped off at this luncheon before his airplane revs up again. I give you the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Thank you, Chairperson of Dag Hammarskjöld Scholarship Fund, Ms. Evelyn Leopold. Scholarship honorees, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Bamber, Excellencies, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the United Nations, and I'm honored to meet all of you today. I'm a strong supporter of this Dag Hammarskjöld Fellowship Fund, and I thank you for your support and contributions to this. I know that you have sometimes difficulty in raising money, but I have seen the list of all patrons. Thank you very much for all generous contributions, particularly many missions, ambassadors present here this afternoon. Your support will make a lot of difference. As everyone, particularly ambassadors, will feel the same things as I do. United Nations heavily relies on the media. We always need to have a strong support from media colleagues. You are the journalists, you are the connecting point, connectors between the United Nations and the world at large. Without your help, whatever I do, I may not be able to know. So United Nations needs to be properly appreciated for what we are doing. I do not want any more. I just want exactly what we are doing, as much as we are doing. Now, the situation is like this. Unfortunately, it is mainly a big Western media outlets that can afford to pay to station their journalists in New York, in the United Nations. That really is sometimes makes it difficult for other journalists coming from developing countries. So there are just a few, very few media outlets from developing countries represented here. Even though the United Nations is active in countries all throughout the world, including your home countries in Egypt, Ghana, Pakistan, and the Philippines. That is why I am grateful to the journalists of Dag Hammarskjöld Scholarship Fund, who showed great resourcefulness in raising money from foundations, corporations, and United Nations missions to bring you here. I'll consider myself what I can do myself. Let us see. They devoted their time and energy to the selection process, which chose you as winners of this scholarship fund. Samuel Aguyemang, Imelda Abano, Mustak Yusufzai, and Ali El Banasawi, and congratulations. And I am very pleased to welcome all of you, and I wish you all the best. I know that there were at least more than 400 applicants. So you have succeeded in 1 to 100 competition. That's a lot. Great. Thank you very much again, and congratulations. You can really be proud, and you can really be called winners. I'm sure that you are making good use of your time here, and I encourage you to ask for any information you may need. We welcome your interest in our work of the United Nations, and we hope you will make lasting contacts here that will work with for years to come. I'm also delighted to hear that you will be presenting Dag Hammarskjöld Inspiration Award to Miss Emma Thompson and Miss Helen Bamber. And congratulations, and thank you very much for your support for the United Nations. I know that it's the first time to be in UN. I hope you will learn a lot and do something for the United Nations. We need your support. These two great women have worked hard to highlight the crime of human trafficking. This is one of the issues, most serious issues, which we are now putting highest priority to prevent and to stop human trafficking. The United Nations is committed to fighting this abhorrent practice on many fronts, from health and human rights to development and peace and security. Everyone has a role to play. It's not only the government, it's not only the diplomats and politicians. Each and every one of you here, journalists and media, as well as actors and actresses. I have seen many such movies which featured some parts of the United Nations activities. It has been quite moving when I saw some footages of World Food Program or UNHCR, refugees, and UNICEF and UNDP, and all the peacekeeping operations. I hope these kind of our activities can really be properly disseminated through movie industries. That's why I have been meeting a lot of actors and actresses, producers and directors in film festivals. That's another area of my job, quite interesting, unique experience for me. I'm glad to meet you again, and I wish you all the best. Again, thank you very much for your support for these young journalists. I hope they will have a very successful journalism career in the future. Again, thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Edie, for reminding me how old I am. God, 1984, doing the Lambeth Walk, which was terribly cheerful. So in the end, after 9 months of that, I was clinically depressed. It's terrible being an actor. You know, when I was talking to Mr. Ban, who I've never met before, and I've never been to the UN before, I said, you know, how are you enjoying it? And he said, well, you know, enjoying isn't really the right word. It's my mission. But I wish sometimes that I had your job so I could express the anger and the outrage and all the things that I really feel. And actually that's what your fellows today will have to do. That's what our jobs are. Our jobs as journalists, our jobs as actors, our jobs as communicators, because that's, I think, what I am, a communicator. And since this is all about inspiration...
The honour, I should be proud of this honour because it's in the name of a man for whom I had great respect. And it's moved me very much indeed to receive this honour. But I just think that what I might just share with you, as I can see food is on the table and I'm not going to speak for too long, is what I wouldn't say the word what inspired me. What started me on a road was something that I experienced in Belsen, in Bergen-Belsen. And I'm sure there are journalists here who may find resonance in what I say about the helplessness of being in an area of total carnage and feeling that there really is nothing that can be done and how useless we are. But actually we're not, and I learnt this very
Well, it wasn't early, it took me time. Until one day I came across a survivor who looked really like a piece of material on the ground. This didn't seem to be human at all. And she rasped out her story to me like a kind of vomit. It's the only way I can describe it. We sat on the ground, we touched each other, held each other's hands, and we rocked, rather like grieving children, deprived children rock. We rocked. And I listened to her, and I suddenly realized that there was something I could do. I could bear witness to this woman. I knew she was going to die. It was quite obvious to me that she wouldn't live for long. And so I said to her, look, you've told me your story. I will bear witness to your story. I will tell your story. For as long as I live, your story will be told. And I realized then, just as Elena's story for Elena means so much, that for this woman there was recognition from a stranger of what had happened to her. And so I'm not going to say very much more, really. I told her story. I've told it to you now. It's the story of hundreds and thousands of survivors who really have no voice and will be forgotten. And I'm sure that there are many here who are telling the story and telling the truth about what is going on.
Dag Hammarskjöld was not only an exceptional Secretary General, as Sir Brian can vouch for, but a very spiritual man who once wrote, "We are not permitted to choose the name of our destiny, but what we put into it is ours. He who wills adventure will experience it, according to the measure of his courage." And if Helen Bamber has nothing else, she has courage. I present to you the Dag Hammarskjöld Inspiration Award.